Day you exchange gifts in boxes, and tomorrow Tuesday public holiday to indeed mark that celebration. Trust in the Nigerian government, even if it falls within a weekend, they will give you that extra day to chill off, cool off, and of course celebrate to the fullest. My name is Amechi Anakwez. On this note, I welcome you to today's edition of Political Platform. My colleagues are here. In addition to that, we have a guest to indeed join us in analysis of socioeconomic and political events in Nigeria today. Teve Tiavize, Abolo Semwavize, and Nosiko Obwenyi, our colleague, a veteran journalist, is also joining us today. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Amechi, and good morning, dear listener.
And Teve Tiaf, still smarting from the chicken and turkey eating.
Yeah, Amechi is right at this time. Compliments of the season to you and our listener out there. Indeed, a moment. Nigerians, very resilient people, no matter how the situation is, no matter how the complaints are about the costs of goods and services and all of that, you can be sure they will always find a way of celebrating, just to thank God as it were, and we are indeed grateful.
And our colleague Nosiko Obwenyi joins us today.
Thank you very much. Of course, the waka pass. So now I can see where my people today. I say make I say unado. They talking for data.
You are carrying an all-white attire.
Of course,
signifies a good thing.
Of course, my white symbolizes hope for Nigeria because I am an unshakable believer in Nigeria because anybody, any group that tries to conspire against Nigeria will always fail. As I used to say, Nigeria is bendable but not breakable. Thank you.
At one point, do we stop bending it?
Of course.
I like the way he introduced the program, actually. Amechi, over the Christmas period, I saw Muslim friends going to the church to celebrate Christmas, especially the Catholic. They went for the Christmas Eve, and some of them even joined them Sunday morning, which happens to be Christmas Day, to celebrate. That is what we keep praying for, the unity in diversity. We do not want to continue to talk about those with an agenda to come and to Islamize or to ethnic cleansing or whatever. That does not exist in Nigeria, that I believe in. As Nosike is saying, Nigeria...
So you think is a figment in the imagination of people?
Yes, but my heart still bleeds in the midst of this. Following the killings that happened in Southern Kaduna over the weekend, it's bad. It's uncalled for. Who is against? I've asked consistently. I asked, who is against the Nigerian project? Amici, do Nigerians just carry gun or knives to kill each other?
You're asking questions. Same questions that one of our listeners asked in the mail will be reading, and is asking, is it an ethnic cleansing that is going on in Kaduna, southern Kaduna, Kagoro area? After burying over 38 people, the next day they were attacked, and it goes on and on. Nosiko Obwenyi talked about Nigeria is bendable and not breakable. I say, at what point do we stop bending this country? Because we think that we can always bend it and get away with it. Maybe the prayer and the hope is that it doesn't crack, even as we are bending it.
Thank you very much. Of course, all of us are paying the price for those people who allow Nigeria to be bending. So, and who are the people allowing Nigeria to be bending? Bad leaders, people who do not inspire, people who try to exploit our fault lines, ethnic, religious, geography, and region. So that's what has been happening. That led us to civil war. That led us to the back and forth we've been seeing in the last few years or few decades. So, and I believe so many people are learning through this. But just like you said, because we have been going through this trajectory for so long, that is why we are backsliding. That's going back. I'm not talking in religious context. I'm talking about moving backward. So those leadership cyclic, and of course, from some of the comments of our leaders, you can see that some of them are, that's having some kind of remorse feeling, feeling remorseful, knowing that they have taken the wrong path, trying to follow ethnic sentiments and so on. So I believe that Nigeria will rebound. So it can rebound. We will stop bending
Okay.
when we have the right leadership. And we must do it, because if we continue bending, then we'll be going back. Even smaller countries will now be coming to ride roughshod over us.
It's already
Like
happened,
that.
some may say. Most times, TV, our leaders will regret the action and become remorseful after they have left office.
Exactly.
Those that will succeed them will not see it that way. They will continue pushing towards the wrong end, traveling in the wrong direction, only to begin their own round of regret when they leave office. The president received a delegation from FCT. Nasiko Boye, when he was serving in the FCT administration, was always a part of the delegation, but he wasn't this time.
I think that's the first time in how many years now?
No, they do.
COVID,
After COVID.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
after COVID, yes. So the president said, before then he has said he has tried his best. Is it that his best is not enough, or some people think his best is not enough? That those bad ones that want to circumvent the process will want to take advantage of the system. Yesterday he also said he's heading straight to Daura when he leaves office. He won't even stay in Kaduna. I was thinking, because he has spent the greater part of his life after office during the military era and during the PTF era in Kaduna. I was thinking he's heading to Kaduna, but he says Daura is. He wants to stay far away from Abuja.
Yeah, he will stay. Daura, as you know, is very close to those who know the geography. Were there, very close to Niger Republic. And he said he's living. The reason for living, he doesn't want trouble. Doesn't want to cause trouble. Perhaps if he's around, he might be forced to say one or two things, either at Juma prayer or one function or the other. So he wants to be where he will only be sending apologies, perhaps for not attending certain events. And he will be very difficult to reach, per se. We've seen others before him. Jonathan has been in Abuja. He goes to Tokyo or Yenegua, from time to time. I'm not sure he has caused any trouble and all of that. But I think what the president said over the last 2-3 days is a reflection. I want to believe he has started to reflect on his tenure as president already.
Is he showing remorse already?
No, for him to say that, look, persons, he thinks he has done well, but some persons are not happy, and all of that. Definitely, you can't expect everybody to be happy, but I think one other thing, one or two things that are a challenge to his administration is talking to Nigerians. And his Minister of Information and Culture is one major, culprit in this sense. Most of what Buhari will tell you he has done, once he starts infrastructure, he wants you to start talking about the second Niger bridge. He wants you to start talking about the Abuja, Kaduna, Kano road. He wants to start, talking about which one again?
The rail to Niger.
Some of those projects and all of that. But unfortunately, nobody is talking about them because his information managers have not done the job for him. He has successfully completed the Kashimbila Dam. I know they are laying the transmission lines. They even passed through part of my village, and all. But nobody is talking about it because the minister and those who should.
Lai Mohammed will not agree with you because in the past couple of days he has been hosting ministers in the radio house in Abuja where they've been giving showcasing and also
achievements.
And also the media team in the villa have been hosting some government officials where they've been giving us breakdown of their achievements so far. So the minister and the villa team will not agree with you. But
this is the problem. This is the problem. By the time you sit in Abuja in the air-conditioned offices and the conference room, and Nigerians, how many of the persons, for instance, you yourself, Abu, you've not been to my village. If I don't tell you that this transmission line happened, you don't know. You will not know. But if you are on ground, if these things are there and people are saying, like when they opened the second Niger bridge, at least Nigerians saw it, even though some sections of the connecting roads and all of that have not been, the explanations were given, and all of that. People need to see these things.
Well, let's bring in you want to drop something?
Yeah, you see, I have a worry, the issue of I will go back to Daura. I want to stay away from...
We'll come to that. Let's bring in Nosiko Boye here. I see this issue of communicating to the people. That's the mistake most government make. Minister of Information starts to address the press, people will not believe what he's saying. Minister of Agriculture starts to tell you about the number of fertilizer and all these inputs. People will not believe you. There's a huge distrust between the government and the people. In some instances where I've tried to advise those in government, use those that the people will believe to communicate. They will think, the moment you're saying the truth, they said lies.
You are part of the opposition. You are speaking for the opposition.
You're spewing lies. So those in government should understand this communication. You can organize 1,000 press conferences. It will be reported, but the moment it's going into the right earlobe, it's going out almost immediately from the left. It's a strategy. Omisike Ogwe is a communications specialist, and he has been there. Perhaps you should guide us. How can government effectively and efficiently communicate so that when they say this is what is happening, people will believe and say, yes, this is what happened?
Okay, thank you very much. To answer this question very well, let me just take you back. The starting point should be to understand the chemistry, maybe the structure and the organization of the country that you are presiding over, if you are in government. Assuming you are in FCT, for instance, it's not the same style you use to communicate with people in FCT that you use in states like, let me just say, Jigawa State, or you talk about Osun State, because the structure of demographics here is different. So this government started without really trying to comprehend the structure of Nigeria that they want to preside. That's my own personal something. So that created suspicion from the beginning. So because they came with bravado, it doesn't really matter, we can bulldoze our way. So by the time you do that, then people will have a mindset. Even when you are coming with good intention, people will always preempt you wrongly. So take for instance, let me just, like in the Southeast, when this program started newly, with the beginning of the administration, because they had believed so much in Jonathan administration, they voted for that. When this government came, they came with anger against the Southeast for voting the way they did. And all efforts to tell them, calm down, pursue these people first, so that they come back, it was not followed. So that crystallized. Then it navigated to other areas, talking, somehow thinking that coercion, force can be used to do so many things. So when they now started doing good things, trying to go back, it failed. There are so many countries like Nigeria. Take for instance, like Brazil, it's about the same population with Nigeria, just 212 million approximate, Nigeria 206 approximate. But Brazil is even more complex than Nigeria. Europeans are there, Portuguese, Germans, and so on, the Indians, the Africans, and so on. And then in the midst of they mix up intermarriage, mulattoes and the pratos and so on. Yet, how are they doing their own? Because there has to be social engineering. You carry the people along. If you don't do that, no matter the infrastructure development you are putting, there will be suspicion. People may try to sabotage. And that is what has been happening. The past president, the immediate past president, Jonathan, said something, was it yesterday or day before yesterday, that whoever is coming should start, from that basic of trying to
unify the country.
Yes, unify the country.
Okay.
There's, first of all, get the people's trust, let them buy in. Then other things will fall into position. Where you fail, they will know that we are human beings.
Absolutely. The administration started with that force, want to change, let's push them out, 5%, 93%. And like you rightly said, the people ready to be confrontational. You want to push your way. And when that happens, they'll fight back, even at the last drop of their blood. And when you end up managing conflicts, you spend most of your time managing conflicts, fighting the so-called opposition, whether they exist or not, fighting your so-called enemies, and you spend less time for development issues. That's the problem. But to be termed a strong leader, you want to use force. Those around you energize you, they spur you to action, deal with them, crush them, do this, send in the military. As you're doing that, they're also resisting. Once they arm themselves, it becomes a back and forth between the military and those people. And there are, what do you call it? Militia in almost every part of Nigeria that are heavily armed. There are more arms being controlled by militia groups than by security agencies. And perhaps a lesson for the next president. How do we approach this? Are we going to be reconciliatory? They say for you to conquer, you have to stoop low. Will you stoop low? Will you welcome? Because I remember on this program, what we advised the president, those people that didn't, when he took over in 2015, those people that didn't vote for you, visit them first. Go and stay 2-3 days with them. Tell them that, yes, you didn't vote for me, but I'm a father for all. In that way, you get their buy-in. But perhaps the president didn't see it that way. He felt he could use force, teach them a language they could listen. All the agitations, the president perhaps didn't give it an opportunity to let's hear them talk. He felt that we could use force. Some other people have said, yes, the infrastructure the president has laid. But managing our diversity, has it succeeded? And what about the soft infrastructure? Has it also succeeded? Bishop Kukah is telling him, you're leaving Nigeria more vulnerable, more corrupt.
Yes, for Bishop Kukah, you clearly understand somebody who is from Southern Kaduna that has been under persistent attack almost all through the last 7-8 years, as it were. You clearly understand. I also learned that even the cathedral where he is in Sokoto State, recall that when those who killed Deborah also, eventually went to attack the place when there was this issue of freedom and not freedom, and all of that. Up to today, the pastoral center and all of that have not been, fixed, even by the Sokoto State government. So these are some of the issues, that have been there, and existing. And clearly, the people must be central to all of what you are doing as a leader moving forward. You can also speak for those in the Middle Belt, for instance, those in Benue, those in Plateau, that farming communities have consistently, been under attack by herdsmen, some armed groups, within those some of those areas and all of that. But clearly, security has been a major challenge, moving forward. In recent times, we are seeing some level of improvement. On this program, we said, take the fight to them. We are seeing airstrikes, even though we are seeing, unfortunately, having collateral damage in some places. But almost every day, if you monitor, the information lines, either the Kaduna State government, the Mil Defense Headquarters, the Air Force, or somebody is telling you how, there have been airstrikes, there have been, taking the fight, and all of that. And we are getting to see reduced, attacks. So that at Yuletide like this, today we would have been talking about the number of attacks that happen on Christmas Day, bombings, attacks, but we're not hearing it. It means something, is going. This is what we recommended long time before now, but you need to connect with the people, which is a key element, of governance. So that even if you don't connect, no matter the kind of infrastructure you put in and all of that, they will certainly see it as not, good enough, which the president has acknowledged that he's doing so much, but people are not seeing it, as good enough. And then some aspects of what Father Bishop Kukah, sorry, we're so used to calling him Father Kukah, the issue of healthcare, and all of that. We also need to understand that this is a federation. The federal government, the only thing the federal government can do for you, for healthcare, for instance, if you go to a federal medical center or you go to a federal university teaching hospital in your state where you are. Outside those, if you are going to a general hospital, a public hospital, and all those are under control of the state.
Are you certain? So why, if yes, they are under the control of the states? Primary healthcare centers are supposed to be put in place and managed by the local government. But the federal government is still going into it.
Because the local government have failed over.
So let them concentrate.
That is the issue.
Let them concentrate on their areas and let it be clear that these people have failed. Have you succeeded in your area? There are some areas the federal government has not succeeded and is going to help those that have also failed in some other areas.
If you go to most states, they are lobbying to ensure that even every local government has a federal medical center, which is appalling. Now, because of the failure of the local government, that is why you created the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency from federal to go and be creating primary healthcare center. What is supposed to be the sole responsibility of local government. Now that brings the issue of local government autonomy. How far so far? The employees are protesting across Nigeria. I think they protested last week in Plateau State, calling on
Ondo State.
I would suggest that presidential candidates see the comments of President Muhammadu Buhari in these last days as a
Yes.
springboard.
Yes.
Let them look at it and study his comments because he's passing messages. When President Jonathan was leaving, he said, "You miss me."
Yes.
He missed me, and that comment is still being analyzed today. And I think they should take
Is
it
it
up.
being missed?
Well, I think in some quarters it's been mixed. The issue of Southeast that we talk about, 5% didn't vote for me. Now, it shows that Nigerians are one people. Not only the Southeast that came under attack then, even some aspect of the media came under attack. But see how Nigerians took it. They took it as one. They know you cannot push one session away or push one media away. They embraced everybody and said, no, the presidency shouldn't bring segregation or divide and rule
So,
in the
for the
decision
next
of
president,
government.
we know you are going to be a strong president, but for you to conquer, you have to stoop low. You have to ensure that sentiments does not or do not indeed override your thinking faculty. Your legacy will be measured by what you deliver, how you succeed, and you can only succeed when greater majority of the people are in cooperation and in support with you in implementing your programs and policies.